Good morning, Sierra Leone. Good afternoon, good evening to every Sierra Leonean waiting at the diaspora and una waiting back home na Sierra Leone. Also, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the Konopikinem waiting at the diaspora and una waiting back na Sierra Leone and inside Kono district. This na David Bongbo, the county owner from Kono News Network. Today, I get another important thing for that we talk about. The transportation problem where people then they face inside Freetown and other parts of the country. We don't see say the population so high in Freetown and the motorcar problem for let them travel from one point to another na problem. Bike then did it, poda then did it, but the population not able the number of transport facilities the way they know it will serve the people there. And also we get things that we get for talk about we get for do with price of fuel and then the transportation fare in spite of the shortage of motorcar dem but the transportation fare sef na problem. So wetin we go start with this evening na for lay the point dem one by one and talk about them. But before that I wan first say thank you to all the people that wey don subscribe to this channel. Una wey dey first time when na una first time for watch me do ya una subscribe and una also comment and send una questions dem. This na channel wey dey for we all and for all Salone people dem, una wey dey na the diaspora and una wey dey back home na Sierra Leone. The first thing wey I wan for talk about na public transportation problems and the scarcity. The key talking points the way people dem dey address na im dis. Chronic shortage of poda, taxis and buses, especially during peak hours. And peak hour inside Freetown or Sierra Leone itself na from 5 o'clock in the morning to 9 a.m. and also in the evening 4 to 8 p.m. Then 10 and day people that can Bokuna street, the one that we want for kind of working place and the one that we want for go back na house after work. Overcrowding, long waiting times and unsafe travel conditions, that na another problem wey dey affect people dem. People dem so Bokuna Freetown that transportation hardly enough. Unequal access, the one wey na the rural communities dem not get the same access to motorcar like the one wey dey na the city center. The one wey dey na the rural communities dem or very close to the peninsula area, then they suffer a lot. Then they suffer a lot. Some dey pay 2-3 times before they reach na dem places dem. So we dey ask government for the transportation sector, Minister of Transport, the government, sef the central government for address the issue dem dey so that people dem no go continue for suffer. Also we get a problem with aging vehicles. Boku motorcar wey dey go na Sierra Leone for transportation na old motorcar dem. Some dey spoil na road, some no get some dem no even fit for dey on the road. Poor main ten ance, lack of roadworthiness, dem no dey check anything dem dey. So that na another factor wey dey really increase problem for transportation na Sierra Leone wey people dem dey suffer from. So we dey talk plenty also for the government. We know say government aware of most of them thing dem dey. But again, the more we talk about am, the more dem dey hear and we feel say one day somebody go take action. Breakdown culture dey back na Sierra Leone. Vehicles stopping midway during their journey and due to mechanical failure. When that dey happen, if dem take money na people dey hand and no dey refund again, then people dem dey end up for pay other transport or take other motorcar for go side dem want for go. So this na the big question wey I go ask under this transportation system. Why is transportation still scarce decades after the war, despite population growth and urban expansion? We dey see Freetown dey grow, other cities and the provinces dem dey grow, but transportation no dey increase. In public transportation actually na we dey talk about na today. So transport fare concerns themselves dey. That na how much people dem dey pay for move from one point to another point. Na the discussion points dem this one I wan talk about. Frequent unregulated fare increase without official approval. People then they raise fare, transportation from one point to another, wey government approve and no dey government no dey approve anything dem dey, and dem sef no even care, dem just dey put am up how dem want because dem know say government no get for make any regulation. Drivers and conductors charging different prices for the same route. Una all go dey go na the same place, una join different motorcar, una dey pay different price. Dat no fair to the people dem. So we dey ask government for let government intervene for make sure say dem regulate prices and dem also regulate the way drivers dey increase prices dem. No effective fare monitoring or enforcement by authorities. Wey all man dey practice im own law, dem dey make their own law, dem practice am. The government law dem dey, but individual people dem dey make their own law dem wey different from the government law, and dat no good for the name of the country. E dey affect the people dem wey dey move up and down, the one wey no get motor car, and the poor people dem na dem dey suffer more. Peak hour exploitation, dem time dem dey wey peak hour dey like early morning and evening time, higher fare, early morning, late evening and during rainy season. When rain dey come, transport dey increase. Early morning wey the people dem boku na street because there is much demand for the vehicles, so the transport dey go high. So in the evening also wey dem ready for go back na house, the transport dey change. So let government look into that. If you look at the humanitarian part of it, somebody wey dey work 40 to 50 leones per day dey spend almost half of that money dey on transportation. So let government really look into that and make sure say it provide a better way for the people. So if I get for ask, let I ask this question. Have you ever been stranded because you couldn't afford transport fare? That question dey boku person go say yes to that. Boku person go don strand na street because dem no get money, or the money wey dem get e no enough for pay transport for them. So again, this na David Bongo, the Canto owner from Corner News Network. We dey discuss transportation at Sierra Leone, particularly so we want to look at the one inside Freetown. So fuel price and a direct impact on citizens. These are the key angles that we will look at. Rising fuel prices automatically translate into higher transport fares. As soon as gasoline or petrol price go up, transport dey go up. Transport unions quickly adjust fares but rarely reduce them when fuel prices drop. They can raise the price up, but they hardly bring am down when the gas price go down. So it go always go up but never coming down. Maybe very seldomly, very seldomly, we see price come down for gas. So higher transportation cost increases prices of food, goods and services. Anything wey transportation go up, na the passenger dem dey pay more, the citizens dem dey pay more for match dem thing dem dey for the standard of living. Traders pass transport cost to consumers, fuel becomes an invisible tax. Transport operators complain of thin profit margins due to spare parts and fuel cost. So that complaint e always dey. As gasoline go up, as price of petrol go up, the drivers dem quickly dey blame am on that, and then passenger dem ace the prices dem go up, then transportation for food sef go up, then food prices dem go up, then people dem dey suffer for that. So do how we dey beg government, let government look into them thing dem dey and make sure say dem satisfy the citizens. So most times this can be the debate question: is fuel subsidy realistic or sustainable for Sierra Leone's economy? So we will go to the next thing wey I want to talk about, when na impact on daily life and national productivity. Wetin transportation fare get for do with the daily life of people dem, and wetin e get for do with the national productivity. Na dem point there, so we go wan discuss under that. Late arrival at work and school due to transport delays. When that don continue, e don persist, people dem dey go work na morning very late, some no dey reach na working place. early, school pikin themselves dey late for go na school. Increased fatigue and stress on citizens. People dem dey become exhausted. E team up na street for long dey wait for transport. By the time you don get am, you don become so tired. When you go na working place, you no dey get much energy for let you do your work. If na student, dey don spend too much time for wait for transport, dey reach na school late, or dey no go able even pay at ten tion na class. So that dey affect people dem very very seriously. So reduce businesses efficiency and market accesses, that na another problem. Health risks. Pregnant women, elderly and sick people struggle to travel. And also youth frustration and public anger fuel social tension. We also go look at government in role and the actions the way dem dey take and the gaps the way they exist. So government actually don try the following. They don introduce introduction of government buses wey na dey waka find buses dem, and whether dem buses dey efficient, dey enough, that we go left am for let the people dem decide. But government don try for bring dem buses dem dey for let help for reduce the ten sion for transportation. Also engagement with transport unions. Government don do that. E don do a lot of engagement with transport unions. Occasional fare announcements, government don do that. Sometimes dem dey announce for say na this na the price for this gasoline or transportation for kandon. Government don do that sometimes, but some gaps dem still dey. And then gap dem na dem this: insufficient number of buses to meet the demand of transportation, weak enforcement of fare regulations. Government need for tighten up na that particular area dey. Poor coordination between Ministry of Transport, police and local councils, and lack of long-term urban transport planning. Also minimal investment in mass transit system. Government suppose for really increase the investment for mass transit system within the city and within the provinces and the city. Because if that dey, e go help the people dem a lot. When e no dey, e dey create a lot of problem. We dey see people dem dey team up na street for long hours before dem dey get motorcar for go. So this na the question wey we go ask: are government buses a solution or just a political showcase? Again, dem question dem wey I dey ask, I no dey answer dem. I believe say the public go able answer dem question dem dey. Let we look at transport unions and regulation rules or issues. This go be the talking point under this. Strong influence of transport unions and fare setting. Limited accountability of union leadership to passengers. Absence of passenger representation in decision making, and conflict between unions and law enforcement. These are some of the problems the way dey between the union and regulation issues and the one the way they make law, especially the police the way they implement the law. So the discussion question would be this: should transport unions be regulated like utility providers? Let government look into that and see wetin dem go able do for we people dem, make transportation become a relief to people dem, especially the one wey dey go work and the one wey dey go na school. So I get some possible solutions and the way forward. These na some ideas for debate. Expansion of affordable mass transit system nationwide, like I been don say. Let motorcar dem dey sufficient, let government buy new buses dem, not to second-hand buses dem, because sometimes when we buy dem second-hand buses dem, dem no dey last long. Let enough buses dem dey wey dey go na each district headquarter town and for come back na the capital city. When that dey, e go be very very comfortable for people dem. Let also enough transportation dey wey dey go right across the city and the peninsula, so that the people the way they go na dem side dem dey, private transportation no go take advantage over them, especially like unsafe bike riding. People dem dey sit down on top bike, dem no get helmet, and they are prone to accidents, and then accidents, and this sometimes it can be very, very fatal. Public-private partnership in urban transport then itself go help. Clear, enforceable national fare policy then itself go help. Because government they make sure say they put law for transport fare, increase one and bring one down. Government suppose for get hands into that. Digital fare boards at major parks. If government really invest in digital payment system, then park outside people then the park for get public transportation, then pay digitally, it will be very, very effective. Although yes, we feel say it go difficult for get that, but it's very important for let we get that. Fuel pricing transparency and buffer mechanisms than itself for daily, and incentives for safer fuel efficient vehicles than itself let we look at them in long term. Dedicated transport routes and bus lanes in Freetown. If government assign specific routes for poda them, for bike them, for buses them, then itself it go help a lot. It go help a lot. So in closing, I go ask this question. Is transportation in Sierra Leone a public service or a daily survival struggle? Is transportation in Sierra Leone a public service or a daily survival struggle? Family dem then tears wey I don discuss na issues dem wey dey affect we all, especially with people dem wey dey travel for go work na morning, and the one dem wey dey left work in the evening for go back na house. School pikin dem sef dey suffer inside there. Some school pikin no dey reach na school tey maybe during lunch time because im school dey far, and for get motorcar for go na im school e no easy. And the one dem wey dey get transportation, most of dem dey sidon panta bike. Bike dem no safe. Yes, dem dey really help with the transportation system right now, but e no safe. But who person dey sidon panta bike? Almost every passenger wey dey sidon panta bike no dey put on helmet. And when dem can get accident, the accident dem can lead to death or very serious injuries. Insurance no dey wey dey cover dem thing dem dey. Na some of dem thing dem dey wey government suppose for pay at ten tion to. Bike riders dem suppose for get insurance, and the insurance dem for also make sure say dem pay out when accident dem take place. Motorcar dem dey na street wey no get insurance, make police dem enforce dem thing dem dey, so that anybody wey dey on the road wey dey sidon on steering or on bike, na a responsible person and e get the legal paper dem for let dey on the road. If we no do that, transportation go continue for be a problem, accident go continue for dey, and nobody no go take action against anybody when even dem dey at fault. So with people dem life e dey at risk. We dey ask the government for make dem take a very stringent measure against illegal drivers dem, against drunk drivers, against people dem wey dey drive without license, the one dem wey dey drive without insurance. These are things wey the government suppose for look into. Finally, let the government look into getting buses dem wey dey go na every part of the country, and the one wey go serve the population of Freetown. Me na David Bongo, the Canto owner from Corner News Network. Anybody wey get questions about the things wey I don say, you can kind of the comment line and send your questions dem dey. And if you not subscribe it, I dey encourage you for let you subscribe. Una who don subscribe, I want for tell una thank you. Una continue for share, una like, and una comment. Again, I want for tell thank you to executives of Corner organizations and all the other Corner organizations that wey dey across the globe wey dey help for bring sanity in Corner district. Una good night, una thank you for listening.